Welcome inside the IKS Media Studios. It's round 2, game 6 tonight. 2 series on the brink of completion, with 2 teams having the chance to clinch their series, 2 teams having the chance to push it to game 7. It's a great time of year, and we're, of course, brought to you by our good friends at UPL, our playoff sponsors. I'm your host today, Clark Munroe. We have 2 game 5s from Saturday to talk to you about, and again, we'll break down tonight's game 6 matchups in Weyburn and in Battlefords. It's going to be a great night tonight on the ice, and we're going to be joined on the show here today by former voice of the Battlefords North Stars, Austin Mattis. It's going to be a great show. He's going to be rejoining our broadcast crew for the finals, of course, that are being broadcasted by Sasktel and our friends at Bamboo Shoots. So Austin Mattis is going to join us to talk about that and his thoughts on what he's seen so far. We'll check in and see if he's been paying attention. It's going to be a great time. But first, let's make sure to thank our sponsors: Canterra Seeds, Capital Auto Mall, Canalto Hotels, SJEU, Sask Lotteries, UPL, Chevrolet, Great Western Brewing Company, Sasktel, RBC, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, and Batterstad. And before we get started, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube or on Twitter, please make sure to hit the like button, hit the share button, and comment in. And we want to hear from you, and we'll put your comments up on the screen throughout the show. So do that. And joining me today, we're going to be hearing a lot of his comments. Jamie Neugebauer. Nugsy, you were in the building for Game 5 on Saturday night in Yorkton. That ended with your new best friend, Cole Hines, scoring 2 goals, but he got the game-winning goal late in the 3rd period. What a great game. Yeah. We'll get to the games in a minute, but obviously just a great time of year. Game 6 is tonight. What are your initial thoughts?
Well, the first thing I'm thinking about is that we are fans of the two fans of the worst baseball team in the major leagues.
Oh, no.
So there's that.
You had to start the show with Blue Jays
some pain stuff. But anyways, the SJHL postseason have been great.
It's been great.
I think when we did our round 2 preview, Clark, we both said these are going to be long series.
Yeah.
These are evenly matched teams. The metrics bear that out. The coaching bears that out. The styles of play bears that out.
Yep.
And what we've gotten what we expected, and that's a treat. We expected a treat, Clark, and we've gotten a treat.
Yeah, it's been great. And Game 6 is tonight, so we'll dive into that here. Yeah. Basically, might as well just jump into it right now. We'll start talking about Game 5, though. So let's have a look at what happened on Saturday night and get you up to the date if you missed it. If you did miss it, geez, what are you doing? But on Saturday, we had 2 Game 5s. The Flin Flon Bombers got a win back at home at the Whitney Forum before heading tonight to Weyburn for the Whitecap Resources Center for Game 6. But they took a 3-2 series lead with a 5-1 win. Pretty big win for them. Bit of a statement, but at the same time, not counting out Weyburn at all at this point. And then on the other side, in Battlefords, they got a 3-2 win to take a 3-2 series lead. That series, Nugsy, we talked about this on Thursday's show on SJHL Insider. Not at all what I was expecting. I was expecting a lot of goals, and there's been 4 now, 3, I guess, 1-goal games. 4 of the games have been within 2 goals. So very, very close series, and what a great finish. But let's start back in Flin Flon. We'll talk about that one first. The 5-1 win. Connor Miller got the goals. The goal scoring started. Reed Arbery with an assist. Reed would then score the next goal very shortly after that. To take a 2-0 lead, and that's all they needed, really. It ended up being 5-1, but those 2 goals were the 2 that mattered the most. Reed Arbery with a Gordie Howe hat trick. He ended up getting the UPL Playoff Performer of the Night for this game, night, I should say. But Nugsy, wow, a 5-1 win for Flin Flon. We talked about on Thursday that Weyburn had a little bit of lady momentum on their side heading into the weekend, but Flin Flon really snuffed that out pretty quick, it seemed.
Yeah, look, this was a very even hockey game, actually, in the balance of it. You throw out the score, there was chances both ways. I think the Bombers metrically, are playing playoff hockey like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
They lead
Look
the
at
league.
50-50, by the way. Holy
Well,
cow.
I mean, that's normal with the Bombers, right? The Bombers, again, they lead the league in entries via the dump-in in the playoffs, again, which is not a big surprise. They understand that where the puck is and go in the corner and pound you. That makes a difference in a long series. I think both of these teams are feeling it. We expected that. This would be a pounding type series, 2 heavy teams that have learned lessons over the years, and I think it's been impressive that way. I think another side of things, This is what the Flin Flon Bombers got Charlie Tritt to do. Like, he has been as advertised since acquired from the trade deadline. And it's not always so easy to go from a team that's, fighting for the playoff spot, ultimately didn't even make the playoffs in the humble Broncos, to go to a team with this type of expectation and make the saves you've needed to when you've needed to. Charlie has done that, and that's why he's the Sasktel Goalie of the Year. That's why he is a SJHL Goalie of the Year candidate as well. We sent those in, and look, the series is far from over. We've seen Joey Rocha time and time again this postseason bounce back from any type of tough situation. But every time the Wings have won the game in the playoffs, either against Nipawin in round one or in this series, Joey Rocha's save percentage has been .944 plus.
Yeah.
And so to his credit, like, he's had a good playoffs and his numbers are good. So I'm not slamming Joey. I'm just saying it's time for one of those vintage bounce back Joey Rocha performances tonight.
Yeah, well, anytime you're down 3-2 in any series, usually it means you need your goalie to maybe steal one for you to push it back to Game 7. So,
especially if you go up to the Whitney Forum, you need your goalie.
That building is tough enough on any given Tuesday in November, let alone a Saturday in April. But yeah, definitely a great way to kind of push the series back to Weyburn, though, Nugsy. So let's talk about Game 6 here. Like you said, you kind of already previewed it a little bit there with what you just said, but back at home now, Weyburn couldn't be in a better spot to have to be having their backs up against the wall. Way rather have it at the Whitecap Resources Center than in the Whitney Forum. But what are your initial thoughts going into tonight's Game 6? Either team, both teams, whatever you want to do, however you want to go about it.
This is the healthiest that the Bombers have been probably all year.
Yeah.
So
by the way, thank you, Kelly. I'm wearing the Movember shirt.
There
Kelly pointed it out earlier.
Hey,
I forgot to mention
it. Doesn't have to be November to talk about men's health.
Movember. Love those guys. It's a great shirt too, by the way.
Yep. Good stuff.
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I mean, last time they were at the Whitecap Resources Center, I think our discussion was the opposite to what it is now.
Right.
What's wrong with the Bombers?
Yeah.
The Wings were dominant. They won 5-2. Joey Rocha was unbelievable. The Bombers had 41 shots and lost 5-2. And it was a late one there by Rhett Ewan. That was kind of a garbage time goal to even make it 5-2. So, again, it's gone fine for Weyburn, especially at home in this series. And so I expect, again, a great response. Both Cody Mapes and Mike Reagan are terrific at pushing the right buttons, getting their guys to respond from once they've been knocked down. And so that's what I expect again. Very interesting. I asked Mike Reagan, how many times have you had Joey Lees, Ryder Muka, Connor Miller, and Wyatt Stinton all in the lineup? All at the same time. And he's like, can't be more than 5.
Right.
All year. Well, and I'm like, really? Have there been any?
That's a really underrated aspect of having a season filled with injury adversity is come playoff time when almost every team, actually every team, is dealing with some sort of injury adverse. What am I trying to say? Injury adversity. Jeepers.
It's all right.
What day is
We're
it
in this
today?
together. It's all good.
Thank you, teammates. Adversity is the word I was looking for. I just said it and I forgot it. You're used to it, is what I'm trying to say. So you go through it all season long. You don't really have your full lineup kind of all season long. You're used to it. And we talked about this a couple years ago. I can't remember which team it was.
Melfort.
Maybe was it Melfort?
A couple years
Guys
ago.
step up throughout the season because of injury issues. They get used to having a bit of a bigger role. So then when they have to do it at different times, especially come big games in the playoffs, they've had those minutes. They've played those moments. They've been in those roles. They've had those shifts against big opponents. So, silver lining to having injury adversity all season, you're used to it. You kind of just deal with it. You kind of just roll with it. And we talked about this, I think it was Thursday, where I said, it's not just that Flin Flon has had injuries, it's kind of who. And Sam Ward being out, to me, Landon Alexander was another name. Wyatt Stinton, Ryder Muka were out kind of interchangeably.
Muka was out for a long time.
So, but to me, it's like Landon Alexander and Sam Ward are guys that really push the Bombers to the winning the way that they want to win. Them being out just kind of changes the way they play. So I think it's taken them a little bit of time since Sam Ward's been out since he played game 2 against Estevan. That's it. He only played the 2 games. I think obviously they swept Estevan, but it took them a little bit to kind of just adjust without Sam Ward, I think, but I think they're finding it, especially after last game. You got to feel good about where they're at. Now it's just a matter of, okay, got a big day, big travel day yesterday for both teams, in fairness, but Weyburn gets to sleep at home, Flin Flon's on the road. How much of adverse effect? Adverse is a tough word for me today.
You're having some adversity.
What the heck?
Talking about adversity.
What a tough word. But will that travel? Thank you, Bryce. Will that travel have an adverse effect on Flin Flon more than it will Weyburn? Will it matter at all? Will it wash each other out? How will that? That's kind of the way I'm looking at tonight's game. It's a war of attrition at this point. Who's going to be the best tonight? Who's going to be their best tonight? But like I said earlier, I think Weyburn doesn't want to be any other place but home right now. So what a great place to be for a tough, elimination style game. So it's going to be, who's going to have their best tonight? I think that's the biggest thing for me is both teams now have shown that they can win in either building. So that to me is a wash. Both teams have shown that they have some injuries. They've played through that. So that to me is a wash. It's just like, all right, who's going to show up tonight? And will it end, or will we push it back to the Whitney Forum for another game on Wednesday? That's going to be a big deal. So anyway, final word to you there for this one tonight.
I think my prediction, if you want to call it a bold one, I don't know, whatever. It's not really bold. Is whoever has the better goalie tonight is going to win it.
Wow, hot take.
It's wild, but I mean. Honestly, that's why they got these guys. Both these teams got their current goalies at the deadline. They're both 20-year-old experienced guys. This is what you get them for. This is why you say, okay, we need to make a move, bring somebody in, whatnot. But again, this is the healthiest I've seen the Bombers, and you talk about that travel sitting on their new bus, by the way. Talked about congratulations again to your new bus.
Gotta check out that bus tonight.
Check that out. Yeah, maybe they'll let us on. Maybe Regs will let us on.
I'm an investor, Mike. Let me on the bus.
Yeah, he pitched in.
I pitched in.
But think about this Flin Flon down the middle right now. Their depth down the middle. Joey Lees is one centerman on one line. And he'll trade off with Reed Arbery maybe if Reed's feeling it hot, and then Wyatt Stinton and Connor Miller trade off left-right on the other line, and then Maverick Delisle, who's been awesome, is on the third line if you want to call it that, with Jack Martin, and then Leo Seitz, who on the Playoff Warriors graphic is just winning tons of face-offs with Ryder Muka and Ryan Ulmer. So I love that you have a spine, you have a decor you believe in, and you talk about the last thing I'll say about Sam Ward is. Great kid, great experience, done his part for sure. Wonderful young man. The question is not whether he could play, because I think he could maybe play. The question is the state that he is currently in health-wise, does that make him a more effective player than the 6 healthy D that the Bombers do have when you look at the guys who are in the lineup tonight? For example, Xavier Fauchon, Ryder Knutson, Nathan Meunier, Kyle Marsden, Pierce Yakubchuk, and Braden Bruce. And I would argue that, unfortunately for him, probably it's a numbers game that way. If it's prime Sam Ward, then he's in there.
And I was going to say, do you think in a Game 7 situation, if it comes down to it on Wednesday, we might see a Sam Ward in the lineup? We'll see.
I expect maybe a slightly shorter Weyburn bench. But that's what you got to do in a elimination game.
You got to have your best guys out there. So tonight, you want to keep your eye on it for sure. Let's put up the schedule here for the series. As you can see how it's gone, Weyburn, Flin Flon, then Weyburn, going back for Game 5. But Flin Flon put a statement on it on Saturday night, I should say. So tonight is Game 6, and then if Weyburn ends up pushing it to Game 7, we'll go back to the Whitney Forum on Wednesday. For that. All right, let's talk about Yorkton and Battlefords. Newsy, you were in the building for this one. Game 5. Cole Hines with an early goal. Well, I guess it wasn't early. It was halfway through the first. Then it was tied up. Battleford scored. Then it was tied up by Yorkton. And then late in the third period, Cole Hines with the game-winning goal. And it just, again, I know Finley Klippenstein scored in this game. I know Raiden Zacharias got a couple of assists, and he's been putting up some points in the last little bit here. But it just goes to show, again, the depth of this Battlefords roster and the willingness for anybody on any given night to kind of be the guy. And Cole Hines is this week's flavor of the day. What can you tell me about that game? Because you were there.
Well, the first thing I'll say about any hockey game is obviously it's not played in metrics. It's not played in your game model. It's not played in XG or in Corsi. I understand that. I understand it's grit and will and determination and bearing down. And really, you can say that this series has been all about who's taken their big chances. because both teams have had them, both teams have squandered them, both teams have thrown leads away. It's been that kind of a series. Now the
lot of 3-2 games.
And you know, credit to the goaltending, I think, is the biggest part of it. Both goalies have been great. Well, all 3 goalies that have played have been really great, generally speaking. So it's not that. But I'll take you through some stats.
Here we go,
Clark.
Number 10.
Some stats that I don't understand how Battlefords is here. I mean, they've got great talent, and they got a great team, and they're coach of the year, and that's why they're here, and the game's played on the ice.
Oh, I think let's preface this with you're not saying they don't deserve to be here. You're questioning how the heck they are because of the numbers.
It just doesn't make sense given the stats.
Totally different premise there.
So here are these, and then you can chuck them out if you want. There you go, Rick Spratt.
There you go.
Obviously, you love my boy Jay Crockett, etc. All the Battlefords people love you dearly. Battlefords, so the first positive thing I'll say is Battlefords is taking their chances at a ridiculous rate compared to the rest of the league. Battlefords XG conversion rate, so when they have a good chance to score, expected goals, their conversion rate in the playoffs is 12.6%. And the second best team is Yorkton at 8.6%. So that's whatever, 4% maybe better than the next, which is a huge number. 12.6% converting on your high XG chances is incredible. So that goes to that said, their Corsi is 40%, and their Corsi means like when you're in the offensive zone and you're getting chances and you're shooting the puck, like that, or versus the other team doing that.
So I've always understood Corsi as basically like scoring chances and shot attempts for one side compared to the other. So if Yorkton's winning 60-40, that means Yorkton is in the offensive zone more often, taking more shots, getting more chances. 6 out of 10 times compared to Battlefords 4 out of 10.
And to that point, the Stars, and we've seen this a lot with the stats too, is that the Stars are really committed to blocking shots. And they're gritty, they're working hard, they're being tenacious, and they're getting great goaltending from Serpa and Michnik. And so, again, you can take the positive or the negative if you want. They have 23 fewer scoring chances than the second lowest team that's still alive in the playoffs. So they're the 4th out of 4 in terms of scoring chances. Yorkton in this series, 98-71 scoring chances.
Wow.
For Yorkton. So there you go. The Stars have had 102 phases of offensive zone possession. That is the least still alive in the playoffs. But Josh Knittig, Finley Klippenstein, Anthony Campbell, and Alessio Nardelli are all in the top 5 in playoff scoring. The Stars are 47% on puck battles. Again, so like a lot of those metrics do not favor Battlefords, yet here they are, 3-2. So my thesis statement is they're finding ways to continue to win ugly games.
If anything, that's a compliment.
It's a huge compliment.
That's a huge compliment. Come playoff time, if you can put yourself in a position where you're 1 win away from moving on to the final, and you're losing every metric stat, that's a huge compliment.
It's wild.
That's,
I mean, except for like points. And the Stars
except
have lots of points.
Actual physical stats. The
so
stat
it's
leaders.
Interesting stuff.
Well, really crazy stuff. So let's talk about Game 6 then, Nugsy. They're back in Battlefords here for Game 6. Battlefords won in Yorkton on Saturday to push it to this Game 6. Or not to put, it was going to Game 6 either way, but to take the lead into Game 6. How much does home ice advantage play a factor in this game compared to the other series we were just talking about?
It really doesn't. It makes no difference. And these teams have shown that this year. And again, the negative, you could say, negative Nancy, neither team have really made their home a fortress. That being said, again, just like in the other series, we've seen the ability of Emery Lawson and the Yorkton Terriers to bounce back and be emphatic. I mean, they went up last time we were there.
What I was gonna say.
It was 7-2.
7-2 for Yorkton in Battlefords.
So they went into that rink and
in Game 4
they dominated. And to be fair, the Terriers have played very, very, very well. And there were so many chances in that game that I was at that I was like, man, they should have buried that. They had breakaways, they had empty nets, the puck was just not bouncing their way, and whatever, lady luck, whatever you want to call it, that is a stat a metric you can't measure, but it's such a factor. And again, that's the margins. That's the margins. And again,
well, like I said, every game so far has been 3-2. Or 3,
except for the
7-2 and the 7-2 right? Was it 4-2 or 3-1?
But I mean, cool for Cole Hines. Obviously, you mentioned it. Just a face-off win by Alessio Nardelli. I hammer face-offs. You know that. Over and over and over again.
Well, you know what? We've talked about it enough. Let's bring up the playoff warriors.
There you go. Let's look at the playoff warriors stats. Here we go.
Because we've talked about it several times, so let's just bring them up.
There you go. So Nardelli's not on the face-off list there, but he won that face-off clean, right to Cole Hines, and then he had a nice little finish with about 4.5 minutes left in the third period to break a 2-2 tie. So, there you go. Face-offs matter. Corshane has jumped up. Obviously, I've talked about Connor Miller, but Corshane has been terrific. And again, they'll trade off, whether it's left, right, strong side, who's feeling good. William Leonard will jump in and take face-off on the right side of the ice too for Yorkton. But Aidan Mohan, man, what a player. 08 birth year.
What a statement.
Got to celebrate young Bucks from Saskatchewan showing up. Same with Leo, by the way.
Yeah, Leo Seitz.
Saskatchewan boy, jumping in there and winning some big draws for Battlefords too, or for Flin Flon, pardon me too. Obviously, we talked about Battlefords being in their own zone, facing a lot of shots, so therefore Owen Dick and Alexander Coventry getting a lot of opportunity. Yeah. But you can say
also breaking news: Alexander Coventry, really big.
He's really tall.
He's really big.
Maybe, really tall boy.
And Braden Bruce.
But you got to be committed. You got to say, hey, I'm willing to do it.
Yep.
And those guys do it. And clearly, there's a culture in Battlefords of accountability to do these little details.
And what you don't see on this list is like the next 4 are all North Stars. So it's like North Star, Bomber, North Star, Weyburn, Yorkton, and then it's like Battleford.
Yeah, there's a lot of stars who. Lincoln Fisher's been in there. Lots of guys.
Yeah.
And then obviously you see the hits. Leonard again. Yes, he's from Quebec, but he never played like he's a kid from Quebec, if you want to use the stereotype. Just gritty, finds a way to score, kind of a deceptive, if not a heavy release to his game. And obviously Crash Flanagan, we should call him.
Wow, we are now.
I can't believe we haven't used that one before.
We suck.
Yeah, right. So Cash continues to be impressive. I was talking to
Well, we have a sound effect for Cash. We don't have one for Crash.
Yeah, well,
we'll
Crash. Yeah, I was talking to a university coach.
I caught Bryce off guard.
I was talking to a university coach at the game, and he's like, "Wow, that kid's good. Like, how old is he?" And I'm like, "Oh, he's an 08. You probably won't see him for a while."
Take a 3-year hiatus on it. Ask him
I
mean,
I know major junior teams are very, very in on Cash Flanagan. So there you go. No. I mean, we want to move kids on. That's what we want to do. So that's cool. And obviously Caleb Dewar in there as well. So there you go. Interesting situation for Yorkton, not having Tyler Palin as well. I'm sure that added ice time, and we can go to the ice time graphic now. That's what I call a segue. Ice time. Tommy Reese, again, more ice time even without Taylor Palin in there. Drew Heil did well drawing in. I'm not saying he didn't play well. Actually, the Yorkton decor is really good overall. So they did really well. But obviously, Rylan Pierce and Josh Carman is the best pairing in the league right now, probably. And then, obviously, those boys there on Flin Flon. Surprising, given, how deep their decor is for Flin Flon, that certain guys have, more ice time than others. But this is also, remember that this is just the teams that are still around. And the teams that are eliminated dominated in terms of the highest average on ice time. We got to fix average there, the spelling. But anyways.
I like it how it is.
You like it how it is. But yeah, like guys like Boston Harkness and Ethan Andrews and whatever, they were way up there on the time on ice. But these guys are still active. But obviously, just a whole bunch of great performances so far in this postseason, and I expect a great night tonight.
I agree. Let's just wrap up Yorkton Battlefords. Final words on Game 6 tonight, Nugsy. What's the key for either team here?
Just take your chances. Whoever takes your chances. I mean, the series could be over one way or the other if the other teams were taking. This series has all been about the margins. It's about starting on time. Both teams have competed. Both teams have committed to blocking shots. They've done things well. Yorkton has played very, 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 very well. They just haven't bared down like the games that they lost. And that's really the difference. Even late in that Game 5, I mean, Tylen Henriksen, after he scored a gorgeous goal, by the way, to start the game, which you can find on SJHL TikTok right now.
Check it out.
Go there, check it out.
It has, let me tell you,
a lot of views.
It has 750 views since I posted it like an hour ago. So it's going
It's really a nice goal. End-to-end rush from the captain.
TikTok.
There you
SJHL
go. Some
TikTok.
university team pick up Tylen Henriksen right now. But
future captain in esports, and if you ask me.
Well, wouldn't put it past him.
No.
And again, they just need to bear down.
Both
teams have gotten good goaltending. Both teams are very well coached. We've seen that. Both teams are deep. Seen that. It'd be very interesting to see the depth. I do like that Yorkton, and again, I understand they had Trey Peterson. I totally get it. He's a really incredible young talent. I do like putting Korshane and his line there with Leonard and Zawadzki back together. That's the girl that brought you to the dance.
Yeah, right.
Or whatever the expression
other way.
is. Dance with the girl that whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Brought you to the dance. Yeah. Jai Zawadzki, by the way.
Adversity.
Wow. So good. Adversity. We're struggling with words.
Here's my. Nugsy, I know you're the number king. You're the numbers king.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of a really in-depth deep dive as well.
There you go.
On this series, and I'm gonna say it right now. I'll tell you my findings.
Yeah.
My findings are whoever scores 3 goals first will win this game. Because every winner so far has scored 3 goals at least. Yorkton got 7, of course, in the one game, but 3-2, 3-1, 3-2, 7-2, 3-2. So if you score 3 goals,
that's good math.
You might win.
Speaking of math,
how
about the attendance?
Oh,
it was really like amazing in Game 5, but it's been great. Like every single game in round 2 have been over 1,000 fans.
Yeah, I'm clapping for the fans.
How many CJHL leagues does that happen? Like that is wild.
I don't know if Curtis Potter is watching from CJHL fans on Facebook, our new friends over at the CJHL fans group on Facebook, but I'd love for him to post that on that page and just ask that question. Is how many leagues can average the amount that we've been averaging?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's wild, yeah. So the average attendance in the Weyburn Flin Flon series right now is 1176.
Okay.
And the
just
average
in round 2?
Just in round 2.
Yep.
So 5,870, and these are paid, registered, recorded fans, not scouts and not
who knows? There could be a whole lot more.
Could be more. These are just people paid to be there.
Right.
And then Battlefords Yorkton, and last night Game 5 party was pushing 2,000 for sure.
Yeah.
It was packed in the Westland Arena.
Yeah, they do it right
and,
up there.
they've total 7,296 fans in 5 games. It does an average of just about 1,500 a game. Woo! Between Battlefords and Yorkton. So well done. The fans keep coming out.
Unreal stuff. So I anticipate tonight at Whitecap Resources Center in Weyburn and Access Communication Center in Battlefords that those numbers will continue to be on the rise.
Yeah.
Nugsy and I will be in Weyburn tonight. Can't wait. It's going to be a great time.
Say hello.
With my dad as well. So if you see me or my dad or Nugsy, say hello. And it's going to be, I'm really excited about tonight's game. It's going to be fun. Okay, that wraps up the 2 series. Let's have a look at the schedule here just as a kind of a capper of this one. As you can see, again, Yorkton 3-2 win. Battlefords 3-1. Battlefords 3-2. Yorkton got that big 7-2 win, and then Battlefords bounced back with a 3-2 win. Tonight's Game 6 in Battlefords goes at 7:30, and then Game 7, if necessary, if Yorkton can win tonight, will be Wednesday night back in Yorkton at Westland Arena. Boy, will that stadium be rocking. Okay. What do we have? We already did the playoff warriors. We did that. So why don't we look at we'll save scoring leaders and goalies for later. Let's do Nugs and Notes if you're ready for it. Nugs and Notes.
I am always ready for Nugs and Notes.
I know you are.
Get me up in the middle of the night, I'll be ready for Nugs and Notes.
I'll text you.
I don't have a lot for it though, to be fair.
That's okay.
The University of Denver beat University of Wisconsin. In the national championship, NCAA D1.
Big game.
Messaged a little bit with Nipawin Hawks alum Braxton Buckberger. Obviously, his brother Boston won the championship with Denver. So congratulations there to the Denver Pioneers. And my buddy, and everybody's buddy it should be because he's the best kid ever, Kevin Anderson, 4th-year guy at Princeton, won the Derek Hines Unsung Hero Award for the NCAA Division I player judged to best exemplify the qualities of sportsmanship. A couple of stats for you. 54% on face-offs. Guy's blocked a lot of shots for Princeton. Incredible young man, and I understand that he's on the move within D1. So I'm not sure if that's official, so I won't say where, but he's on the move. But anyways, cool for those two, and obviously we'll have a little roundup about what's going on with the Centennial Cup picture in 3. But one thing I will say is that the TELUS Cup will get going in Peterborough in I think a week. There, so it'll be our buddy Sean Mullen on the call there in Peterborough as that field is ready to go, and hopefully the Pat C's bring us a TELUS.
Yeah, shout out to Sean Mullen. Yeah. All right, well, there you go. There's Nugs and Notes. We're going to hit a break. When we come back, I don't think he's in yet, but he will be shortly. Austin Mattis, former voice of the Battlefords North Stars, is going to join us. He's also joining us for the finals broadcast again like he did last year. So we're looking forward to that, but we'll chat with him after the break. Stick around.
The price beat guarantee is back at Capital GMC in Regina. We will beat any price on any new vehicle from any competitor, or you get $500 cash guaranteed. The price beat guarantee at Capital GMC in Regina.
At Vatterstad, we're partnering with North American farmers to create the perfect emergence. We're doing this with new and innovative tillage, planting, and seeding solutions, optimized for the field conditions that you face, and with industry-leading capacities to help you get the job done in short windows of time, so you can maximize yields. Vatterstad, we look forward to growing together.
Every ticket you buy funds programs all across Saskatchewan, like sports. Buy your tickets today.
In the last decade, the construction industry has reduced injuries by 46%. That's as many injuries prevented that would fill several stadiums. Find out more at scsaonline.ca.
Feeling like your dreams are out of reach? RBC has programs and resources to help you open the door. With RBCX Music, RBC Training Ground, and RBC Scholarships, your idea of your highest potential happens here.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
All right, welcome back inside. It's SJHL Weekly with Clark and Nugsy. And we're going to be joined now on the video chat by our good buddy, Austin Mattis. Austin, thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you. Going to see you in a couple of days by the sounds of it, but we don't know where yet. So we're still trying to figure that out. But I see that you're wearing your Broncos gear. We'll talk about that in a sec. But first off, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Appreciate you guys having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk SJHL hockey. I've been catching up lots here and watching a lot of the playoffs. So yeah, it's going to be exciting games tonight, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I kind of joked a minute ago, like we'll test him to see if he's paying attention, but clearly you're going to be checking in at least for these games tonight. What have your thoughts been if you have been watching? I know obviously your former team is involved. So
both of his former teams.
Yeah, both of your former teams. Obviously a Flin Flon guy.
I was going to ask him who he's cheered for if those two play each other.
Well, they both have a chance to clinch. So give me your thoughts, I guess, from what you've been paying attention to, because obviously you have a job with the Swift Current Broncos, so I know you've been busy with that too. But if you've been paying attention, what are your thoughts so far on the playoffs?
Yeah, well, I think, as usual, my past 4 or 5 years when I was part of the SJ was the parity was second to none. And I think this is another year where that's full on display, right? You look back even to that first round, a team like Melfort, who goes on a crazy run to end off the regular season and really definitely had a big scare to go against that Battlefords team. But I think all in all, just every series has been really tough so far. And just kind of touching on that Flin Flon Battlefords, who am I cheering for? I know Nugsy always likes to get the good stuff out of me. Right now, I'm kind of right in between the two. I'm not too really sure who I want to go for. If either team wins, I'll be happy. That's the safe answer, right? But I'm from Manitoba originally. Flin Flon was my first team, so maybe siding on the Flin Flon side a little bit, but I think all in all, it's been a great series so far, and so many guys stepping up too that you've seen on all four teams who maybe didn't have the greatest regular season, who are now 8 or 9 points here through the 10, 11 games that they've played. So I think it's another year of just a great look for the SJ as well, for guys who are getting opportunities, whether it be guys who have stepped up, younger guys, older guys. and just another great display of the parity that we've seen. It seems like every single year it's getting better and better. You could have put 1 through 10 in the playoffs and had just equally as good a series. So I think all in all, like, it's just another great year for the SJ in terms of playoff hockey. Great players playing, and all in all, it's been good stuff to watch.
Hey, don't count out my the number 11 Warman Wolverines. Anyway, I'm just joking. Austin, I got to ask you. Hey, don't count them out. Look, I got to ask you, Austin. Obviously, let's put aside Connor Logan and the job he's done with the North Stars for a second. I mean, obviously, he's done a great job. He's won the Coach of the Year for a reason. But other than that, what did you see from the North Stars, I guess, that, coming, from that culture, from the past into this season, that gave you the idea maybe that they would be this good this soon?
Well, I want to start off by saying that I knew from the offseason, from all the new signings, all the guys who were staying, I knew they were going to have a good team. I know maybe you knew because you were a little lower down on the totem pole for some of those early season power rankings. But I think, Josh Kinnick and Anthony Campbell have really been two firepowers for that team. And even going back to, I think it might have even been like mid-July, Connor Logan had the captain picked out for that team. He knew he wanted Anthony Campbell as the captain for that team. And then you look at the back end, guys like Lincoln Fisher, Gavin Granger, Owen Dick, who's been doing a lot of great things as well. Kobe Sawyer, another young guy on the front end. So I think there was just so many guys who were coming back from last year's team who really believed in that Battleford squad. Even you go back to last year when I was there, it was rebuild, right? That was what you kept hearing. Oh yeah, it's a rebuild year. Well, we made a playoff spot, made a real good run for it, and almost ended up beating Weyburn, who went up to the finals, right? Yeah. So I think this year, maybe a little underestimated, but a lot of guys who are character guys, a lot of skilled guys. And I just think coming into it, they knew what they were in for. They knew from last year they had the building blocks to come into this year and do a really good job. And I think starting off the season, they figured that out. Obviously, some ups and downs and kind of finding that starting goaltender. But once they were able to lock in, they figured it out, right? So I think, Battlefords, just looking back to last year, Gavin Granger and Fisher have been unbelievable on the back end, 3-4 year guys now on that Battlefords team. So just a bunch of guys who really wanted to win. They knew the culture. They knew what that team had capabilities of, and now they're doing it this year.
Yeah, and, Fish, he's still only in 07. Like, it feels like the guy's been around forever, but, continues to play super well. So there you go. How is it making the jump, or whatever you want to call it, to the Western League? Obviously, not the year that I'm sure I could put words in your mouth saying that any year anybody wanted there in Swift, but just talk about the jump and seeing Nick Nielsen and Matty B around, and just how was it?
Oh, it was great. Like, first year being in the Western Hockey League, of course, more than grateful, more than anything. And I always, whenever I come on here or do talk to anyone, I always like to give a huge thanks to everyone in the SJ, whether it be you guys, Kyle McIntyre, of course, Rob Hart, the whole Flin Flon Battlefords community, right? Just the opportunities and being able to do the things that I was able to do to get me to the Western Hockey League. More than grateful. So always want to start off by saying that. But yeah, the jump was awesome. Of course, you get to go to the big hockey rinks. You get to, go to Edmonton Oilers Arena. You get to go to the Saddle Dome, all these places. Like, that's all the fun stuff. But in terms of the play, like, the skill level is better. The pace is faster. And it's super, super exciting. I think for me initially, like, in terms of a play-by-play call, definitely took some jumps to go through because, the game is faster. Everyone moves quicker. You don't have 2 or 3 seconds. You get about half a second to hold on to that puck before you're getting run over by a second round draft pick, right? So the game is definitely quicker. But that being said, I think, even now working in the SJ and coming to the dub, I've told a lot of guys, like, if you're a 15, 16-year-old, 17-year-old kid who maybe just can't make that jump, don't play AAA. Go play SJ hockey. Go play AJ hockey. Get yourself accustomed to playing with some of those older guys, right? Even now, a Broncos prospect, Gavin Harrison, he's top 15 in the league in scoring. In the AJ, I think he's 17 years old right now. He's only in 09. And, just playing against those physical bodies, those 20-year-olds, those 19-year-olds, getting you ready for those kind of systems, because SJ is a lot of systems hockey, as you guys know, compared to what a AAA team would be. So I think the jump has been really good. I've enjoyed it. Of course, Nick Nielsen, Matty B, really good buddies of mine now. We always like to joke around with our SJ days, but I think the jump was definitely a learning experience, like it is anytime you go to that next level. But I think in terms of the play style, like, the physicality, the pace, the systems, all increased. But the SJ has been a great starting point, not only as a broadcaster but as a player as well, to kind of see what it's like to take that next step.
Yeah, another player that's right now in the SJ that is a Swift Current guy is Nathan Gray, who's been with Yorkton, Nate Gray. So he's another guy who's getting a lot of ice time, especially there's a suspension in Yorkton with Tyler Palin, so he got a little bit of extra time. So a guy like that fits in really nicely, and like you said, it's just a great opportunity to get some more shifts and some more big pressure moments as well. But we talked about you making the jump, and now you're coming back to us here. You were with us last year in the finals for the broadcasts. You're going to be jumping on with us again. First off, so much fun to do these broadcasts with the crew that we are able to put together. And this year I'm jumping in too on the actual crew. So that's going to be a lot of fun too, Austin. But just talk about your experience from last year and how that's going to transition you and bring into what you can bring forward into this season for the finals.
Oh, I think kind of like you said, like it was just so much fun last year, and to be part of a huge camera crew, right, through Bamboo Shoots, and have the whole pregame show, the on-ice side reporter, the host, and everything with the lights, the camera action, all that stuff, right? It's such a great experience, especially for young broadcasters or for any broadcasters. Of course, as fun as it is doing games on Flow Hockey and calling games on the radio, there's definitely something special about being able to do it at that elevated level of production, right? So I think first and foremost, it's super fun experience. I love doing it. It's, what we do for careers, what you guys do for careers. So we all know how fun it is kind of being in front of the camera, broadcasting in front of a bunch of people. But I also just love the community aspect of it as well, right? Of course, being able to see you guys, being able to see Kyle Mack, seeing the broadcasters from the teams who are playing, seeing all the fans who you used to run into at all the rinks at the SJ arenas. For me, a chance to go back to the Whitney Forum, a place I haven't been back to in a couple of years now, which I'm really looking forward to if it does happen. So just super excited to be able to be part of it, see all the fans, see the community, be back in the communities that kind of helped me through my broadcast career so far. And all in all, just have a good time with you guys.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Last one from me. I think it's not set in stone, but it looks like that you'll do play-by-play and I'll do color. So do you have any tips for me to do a good job with you? Like, do you want me to stop talking faster? Do you have any ideas for me? Maybe talk shop here. And then people at home can see if I listened or not.
Nugsy, I have no tips for you. You just be you, dress up in a nice, beautiful suit. We'll try and color coordinate, and I think that's all I'm going to ask for you. You do a great job, Nugsy. So I don't need any tips for you or nothing. You do awesome. So don't worry.
We'll save the real conversations for off camera when you can really break down all this.
We're going to look at this down where you didn't shut up.
We'll talk about that off camera. All right, Austin. Well, looking forward to it. We'll see you in a few days. We'll figure out where it's all going to be, but we'll see you in a few days, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Well, appreciate it, guys. Always nice talking to you. I love coming on here.
There we go. Thanks, Austin Mattis, voice of the Swift Current Broncos, but former, of course, voice of the Battlefords North Stars. Also had a hand on the Flin Flon Bombers broadcasts, and they could be seeing each other in Game 1. Those two teams, possibly. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we wrap up the show after the break. And Nugsy is going to actually preview what we know so far about the Centennial Cup. So stick around till after the break.
Feeling left out of can't-miss moments? RBC has programs and resources to help you open the door. RBC clients get access to concerts, Avion rewards, and exclusive benefits. Your idea of memorable moments happens here.
Each year, the SCSA issues over 10,000 training certificates to the construction professionals who build our province. That is the same population as Weyburn. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
Ticket you buy funds programs all across Saskatchewan, like arts and culture. Buy your tickets today.
Introducing Sasktel Student Saving Tips. Tip number 138. You could build your own pallet furniture.
So you're living on your own. You gotta save money by building furniture with pallets.
Or get Infinite 150 for only $50 a month with Sasktel Student Deals.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
All right, welcome back inside. Segment 3 of SJHL Weekly. Clark and Nugsy here. Nugsy, I'm going to throw it over to you. We obviously don't know who's going to be in the Centennial Cup yet outside of the host team. But with that being said, we kind of have some updates on where each league is kind of at. There's obviously a lot here, so buckle up.
Yeah.
Is there 9 other leagues to talk about?
Yeah.
So what do we know at this moment?
Yeah, so I'll do this as quick as I can, but I think I'm interested in this, so hopefully you are.
Hopefully some of people are.
The AJHL, by the way, is Canmore Eagles are already in the finals.
Okay.
They're waiting the winner of Whitecourt and Grand Prairie. What a wild series that has been. GP won 5-1 in Game 6 on Sunday, so the finals will be either Canmore against Whitecourt or Canmore against GP. Should be a great final. Lots and lots of award winners coming out of Whitecourt and whatnot. So lots of talent there. But it would be, I think, it'd be a pretty big upset if GP did that. So our buddy, Buddy's up there probably all fired up. So there you go. MJHL, the Verdun Oil Caps beat Steinbach in Game 6 yesterday. So they'll face Niverville in the finals. And I was saying to Kyle McIntyre, actually, that's kind of nice in the Manitoba League. That, as cool as the Steinbachs and the Portages are, and as good as they are year after year, kind of nice to see somebody a little different.
For sure.
So Niverville, obviously, what a great year they've had all year. And Verdun, there you go, in the Manitoba League final. The Northern Ontario League, we saw Sudbury last year in the Centennial Cup. Lots of individual talented players on the Sudbury Cubs. They're going to be in the final against the upstart Timmins Rock. There, but Sudbury certainly the big favorites in that one. In the Noge, in the SI, the North Bay North Stars will take on the Fort Francis Lakers, and I have personal history, dislike of the Fort Francis Lakers.
Yeah, screw those guys.
Screw those guys. No, but seriously, I have a long story. It's a long story, but long story short, team that I was part of played Fort Francis in the Dudley Hewitt Cup, and we should have beat them, and we didn't, and blah, blah, blah. Anyways, moving on. OJHL.
Nugsy holds grudges.
Yeah, I hold long-time grudges. The Newmarket Hurricanes, who just back to the OJHL, by the way, they are in the finals of the OJHL, and they'll take on the winner of the Toronto Patriots and the Collingwood Blues. Now, what does the Newmarket and the Toronto Patriots have in common, Clark? Any ideas?
They're both in Ontario.
They're both in Ontario, and they're both teams that I used to broadcast
right,
for.
I should have known that.
So, and obviously, I know some people involved with Collingwood, though not as much as anymore, as they've kind of moved on. But I would love to see a Newmarket Toronto Patriots final.
Awesome. In kind of the conversation of new teams showing up, we've seen Collingwood a couple times in the last little while.
That's true.
They weren't there last year, were they? They were there a couple years ago, for sure.
Last year was Trenton, yeah.
Right. So,
with
Newmarket, Toronto, we haven't seen either of those teams, at least in my time covering the league in the last, 4 or 5 years. So, it'd be nice to see a couple
there'll be new
teams.
champions in all sorts of leagues,
right?
Which is kind of neat.
Obviously
ours as well.
Alberta, ours, and Manitoba, and now that one too, right? So,
so a bunch there, So I'd love to see Westwood Arena, whatever 500 fans that could get into the Westwood Arena in Toronto, all packed up for that one. But Game 6 is tonight at Eddie Bush Arena in Collingwood.
Yeah, you talked about our attendance numbers. Like you said, Nugsy, if you ever want to get Nugsy going, talk to him about some of his broadcasting days in the Ontario leagues and some of the crowds.
A little different.
Yeah, a little different than it is here.
All right, the CCHL.
Don't take it for granted, SJ fans.
Yeah, hey, we love it.
We have great fan bases, great crowds.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Absolutely.
Anyway, sorry, Nugsy.
No
Keep
worries.
interrupting you.
Rockland, obviously the Nationals, #1 team in the CJHL. A lot of people very, very high on them. They are the favorites, certainly in the CCHL finals against the Smiths Falls Bears. Rockland has lost 1 game all playoffs. They totally destroyed the CCHL this year. We saw how good they were. They were at the Centennial Cup last year. They were close to beating Calgary in the semifinals of the Centennial Cup last year, and it could have been Melfort and Rockland instead of Melfort and Calgary, and that might have been a different world. Gabriel Lehoulier, by the way, on Rockland. Great name, led the CJHL in points in the regular season with 120. So there you go. They have a lot of firepower on that Rockland team, and Justin Pereira there is a great coach. So pretty cool. The Quebec League, Beauce, will take on one of mine and Nolan Cole's former favorites, Longueuil, Collège Longueuil Francais. They were in Estevan, by the way, when the SJHL hosted. And Longueuil and Beauce will battle. Beauce, the former team of my buddy Elliot Dutil as well.
Hey, remember that name?
He's all fired up about that.
Yeah.
And then the Maritime League, where, two teams will come out of course, because they're hosting the Centennial Cup. Game 7 is Thursday for the hosts of the Centennial Cup Summerside against Truro in the semis. They'll take on Edmundston, who swept their way through. Edmundston was in the Centennial last year as well, a pretty good team. And so if Summerside wins Game 7, then we know for sure that it'll be Summerside and Edmundston going. So there you go. And then it's interesting to see how different leagues schedule things. They have all the way till Thursday to wait for Game 7. Whereas, like, if we have 2 Game 7s on Wednesday, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but and Game 1 in the finals will be Friday. So a little tight, but away she goes.
Have you been? I don't know. I know you haven't been like following that league necessarily, but do you know anything about the Summerside as the host? Did they kind of like load up this year as the host team?
I'm sure they did. I mean, they're
how'd they do in the regular season?
They're a team that's always
they've been good for a while.
Always like terrific. There's some factories, but I mean, Edmundston returned a lot of guys even from their championship last year. But throughout the CJHL rankings, Rockland was 1 or thereabouts for a lot of it, as were the Toronto Patriots, and I'm really happy to see that organization do so well after some dark years. Their general manager is an old friend of mine as well, Blake Ricci. Their head coach, Vince Bellissimo, has done a wonderful job everywhere he's gone in Ontario too. So keep an eye on whoever comes out of the OJHL.
Yeah. One thing I will remind everybody, and we talk about this a lot throughout the regular season, so like this isn't like news, but the CJHL rankings are heavily based on win percentages. And we know, because we talk about it a lot, that a lot of the leagues, a good chunk of the leagues in the East are heavily weighted one way or the other. It's top heavy.
Well, it's also there's some, how do I word this diplomatically? There's definitely more bad teams.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Is there's some teams that win a lot.
We have a lot more parity.
But that's because the teams at the bottom lose a lot. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, but I do think the Rockland Nationals, if they played in any league in CJHL,
all I'm saying is
very,
with the CJHL rankings here and there, there's some context sometimes that's missing. That's all we'll say.
So people are always freaking
For example,
out, blah,
like
blah, blah.
how Flin Flon, best team in our league, very good team. We know that all year long.
Yeah.
They were never
hardly
higher
cracked
than
single digits. Yeah.
Like what, 8th or 9th or something?
They were mostly
7th?
in the double digits.
Yeah, like 12, 13 area. We know that they're better overall throughout the regular season than a lot of the teams above them, but that's just how the CJHL rankings work. Is it's win percentage, heavily based on win percentage. And our team being as deep as it was, with, like Austin Mattis said, 10 teams could have made good, decent pushes in playoffs this year.
Yeah.
When you have that situation going on, it's tougher to have a really good number 1 team with a really good win percentage.
Yeah.
Just how it goes.
So it's interesting too, and I was talking about the scheduling. In the Noge, for example, both Timmins and Sudbury swept their second rounds, and they gave them 8 days between the end of round 2 and but they're going to start on the 16th in the for their finals. So they might have 8 days off to start their finals. Where our league might have 2.
2, yeah.
Be interesting, or like 1 or whatever. But I mean, that's just the way it goes. And the idea, I think, with the SJ, with the scheduling, is to give a little bit more time for rest and for logistics and for practice for whoever does come out of our league to go to the Centennial.
Because we're going to have more time in between game, whatever it is that is the finishing game of the finals,
start of the centennial.
we have a little bit more of a window in between that.
Yes, right.
So whoever wins, rather than like I think we've done it in the past couple of years where we've had grueling final series, and then that team like has 3 or 4 days to kind of figure it out before they leave.
Yeah.
Now it's about a week or so. So it's a bit more of a, and if it's a short series, which I doubt it, but if it is a short series, they'll have even a little extra
I think if the finals go 7 in our league, say, they'll still have 6 days.
Right. Which I think in the past it's been less than that. But here nor there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great time. Let's have a look one more time at Game 6 schedules tonight. Here's what we're looking at tonight. Obviously, we're going back to Weyburn for that Game 6. It's going to be Flin Flon heading to Weyburn for that one. If a Game 7 is necessary, it'll be Wednesday. And then tonight, Game 6 in Battlefords, of course, is going to be at 7:30 tonight. And then, if necessary, back in Yorkton for Wednesday. So there you go, Nugsy. Great show today. Thank you to everybody in the back room, of course. Connor, Jordan, and Bryce. Rocking it today, boys. Thank you. There's Jordan with the thumbs up. Thank you, guys. Austin Mattis, thanks for joining us on the video chat. Nugsy, as always. Everyone here at IKS, everyone at UPL for sponsoring all of our shows during the playoffs. And Canterra Seeds. The cup is coming. It's right around the corner. We'll actually have a show coming up later this week to preview the final. We just don't know when yet. Depending on if there's any Game 7s, that's how we're going to know. So here's what's going to happen. If both series end tonight, we'll have a finals preview show on Wednesday. If both series go to Game 7, or if any of them go to Game 7, we're going to push our finals preview to Thursday morning. So that's going to be a little bit weird for us. But depending on how it all goes, we might have to hit the road on Thursday morning to get to Flin Flon if that's how it goes. So, long story short, stay tuned. Wednesday or Thursday will be our final preview. We'll do a regular show on Monday next week, and then we'll kind of figure it out from there. But that's how it's going to go, basically, for the next few shows. So, anyways, it's going to be a great week. If you haven't got your tickets yet for tonight and you're in the areas, I don't know if there's any left, but try to get some. Get to the rinks. The crowds have been fantastic. Make them even better. And if Wednesday happens for Game 7s, it's going to be unreal. Oh. So make sure you get to those ones as well.
The Whitney in a Game 7? Oh, baby.
And then regardless,
if they go,
guess what happens on Friday, Nugsy?
Game 1?
Game 1 is going to be on Friday night of the Canterra Seeds Cup final. So it's going to be, it's a huge week. It's going to be great. Game 2 will be on Saturday. Yeah. We'll have the broadcast for you in the finals with our good friends at Sasktel and Bamboo Shoots, Rusty and the boys, and Austin, and I don't know, we'll see who else. But it's going to be a great time. So until then, bye for now, and enjoy the hockey, everyone. It's going to be great.
$364 more days till next year's hockey tryouts. I gotta toughen up. Yeah!